Welcome back everyone to the channel. And yes, it is TK here, Miss Angela Wallace' daughter, her one and only baby. So she had asked me to basically state what it was like growing up with a single parent or in a single parent household. And if I should go back, I'm going to go way back to being a toddler right up to primary school. You guys will have to tune in for the other sections. No, my father, he didn't want me. He he had asked mommy to do an abortion back then, and she didn't. But I remember her telling me that she tried to commit suicide more than one time. She ingested some pills, and but God allowed her to throw it up back. That's why I'm here right now. But at the same time, I she suffered through a lot of depression, right? So when I was born, you could say that I was born in a depressed state. So as an infant, I didn't cry much. I I was mostly quiet. The only strong emotion that you could say that I had was anger. Mom always relates a story back to when I was one, how I reacted when she had slapped me because I was eating this soap. So anger and sadness was the order of the day for me when I was younger. And I remember wanting to protect her, even at that young age. As soon as I could, I had enough knowledge. I knew that I wanted to protect her. I remember wiping her tears. Um, I remember that, and I remember how she used to sing this song to me. She used to always sing this song to me. God has spoken. He will do it again. She would always sing that song. That was my lullaby. I remember my father abusing her. I remember that. I remember a specific memory, more like two. The first one, I was really little, and my aunt was there. We grew up together. She was, she's a few years older than me, like 2 or 3 years, or maybe it's two. I don't know, but she was there, and he was fighting her. And I remember looking, standing in the little doorway, just looking. And I remember next time I was alone. Debbie, her name is Debbie. She wasn't there. I don't, or maybe she was, but in that moment, I remember seeing him holding her at the shoulders, and she was pushing against him, and I was like, "Leave my mommy alone." And he said, "No, I'm not doing anything to her. It's fine." And my mom said, "No, he's trying to fight me." And I remember, I don't know where I got the knife from, but in that moment I had the knife in my hand. I was like 4. And I had the knife in my hand ready to defend. And I had to do that another time too. Like I would draw for the knife because I need to protect my mom. So that happened. I remember him. I remember her throwing a plate at him. She threw a plate at him because he purposely did something to provoke her, and she threw a plate at him. And I remember him not being around much. I remember traveling a lot. I remember being in Kingston, being in this dark place. I don't know where we were, but I was little. and her ironing my clothes, and the iron burned up my uniform. uh, I remember how difficult it was, but mom always held her head up. Like, she told me stories of how she used to sell in the market, because my dad, he didn't care. I started school when I was 4, right? That's when I started school. And the way how I got my uniform was strictly last minute, because he didn't take the time out to make it, even though he promised. So that's when I started school, and I remember not really being interested. The teachers, they didn't pay me much attention. I remember that too. And this didn't just happen during primary school. This was right up to high school, right? Before I took CXCs. Teachers would always look down on me and look down on my mom because she's young. And it was thought that nothing would come out of me. I wouldn't come out to anything. I remember wanting to make her feel proud. And I remember dreaming of a simple dream, just to have a tile floor, or just to have a floor that she wouldn't have to go down on her knees and scrub it. I remember wanting to be a housekeeper because I saw her being a housekeeper. Alright? And she said no, she used to call me Tammy, but then no, that's not it. But I remember that distinct feeling of people looking at me and just thinking that nothing is going to become of her. Nothing is going to become of her daughter. And other parents, like her friends who had children around my age, they would boast on her, because at the time I was not, I was too depressed for school. I used to use the metal in the books and just use it to scrape, like, I don't know, absent-mindedly just use it to cut my hand. And I remember the teacher beating me over it, or beating me just because I used to draw on the side of my book. Yeah, I used to draw. I started, that's the only thing I was interested in, the arts. So I would draw flowers on the side of my book, and she beat me over that. I remember mom having to come to school a lot because I was bullied, because I don't know. I used to be bullied a lot, so she used to have to come to school for me. I just remember, I remember wanting friends. I I was sad. I remember being sad. Mommy was sad too, because she would always, she didn't have any time for me really. And back then mommy never used to talk to me much because she was going through it. Right, grandma, before she died, grandma was a piece of work. So just having grandma alone would depress you, because grandma, I don't think grandma liked me. Grandma used to call me spoiled when I told her that this man was trying to feel me up. She said that it was a lie. Mommy left me with grandma for 2 weeks, and I ended up with fungus and sores all over my skin, and all my clothes was gone. And my aunties, man, they would put me in the middle of the bed and they thought them fat and I was skinny. And so they would crush me. They would crush me while I was sleeping. And I remember always wanting to find mommy. I was a determined little girl. Yo, I was there's nothing that could separate me from my mom. No matter where she was, I would find her. I was that determined, to the extent wherein I got lost because I was trying to find her at 6. And I couldn't recognize that I was standing before my taxi stand. I remember having to stay by myself from I was 8, because because I wouldn't stay with my grandma. I would always leave because I was uncomfortable. So, and mom had, like, she would be working late shift and I would be sitting outside waiting for her. So she just decided to let me stay at home. And so I spent a lot of time by myself. I spent so much time by myself that I didn't even speak much. I didn't speak much. To the extent wherein teachers, they thought I was that I couldn't speak. Some people actually thought I couldn't speak because I would just stare. And now I talk too much. So I was just saving all of that for this moment. But yeah, it was very difficult for us. I remember before before my mom moved from the house that I was taking when I was a baby, before she moved there. No, before she moved from there to run away from my father. Well, she packed up everything in secret and got a house very far from the community. And my father found us and cut the telephone wires. Cut the wires, the telephone, and he did something else. He did something else, and I remember seeing him on the floor, in the middle of the floor, crying. Mom said no, like she's not coming back to him. I remember crying because I wanted my father. I wanted him, and he would never show up. And mom would have to be the one to console me. And I remember being so attached to my mom. Just the mere thought of not having her was disturbing to me, because I overheard my father. It's like he was planning to do something to her and I overheard it. I don't know if that was his plan or what, but in my little mind I heard that he was going to set up to shoot her, and I got so scared that it was the day before my birthday, and I got sick. I had a fever because of that. And I was looking forward to that birthday. Mom bought me a cute little outfit, and we were going to go to McDonald's, but I was too sick. It was very difficult for us. In order to even get my books, mom used to take out those books for months and pay for them little. She used to get up like from 3 in the morning to cook, to wash, to clean, to do everything, and to make me lunch. She was constantly working, constantly trying. And I remember at one point she quit her job because they were treating her badly. And I remember how frustrated she was. But that's just a tip of the iceberg. Just a little tip. I will continue the story next time. But until then, see, feel, and seal the vision.